Post-trade d.eadline NBA Power Rankings. New look: Cavs on the rise, Jazz keep winning. If Sunday's rout of the Boston Celtics was any indication, the trade deadline roster upheaval was exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers needed to get back on track. Their second test, and the final one before the All-Star break, comes Tuesday against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who last month handed the Cavs one of the ugliest losses in franchise history. No pressure. With the trade deadline in the books and All-Star Weekend, February 16th to 18th, right around the corner, here's how we view the league's current power structure. Voters, listed at the bottom of this page, include NBA reporters from across the USA Today network. 1. Golden State Warriors, 43-13, last week. 2. The Warriors look as though they've righted the ship with back-to-back blowout wins, and with games against Phoenix and Portland remaining, could head into the All-Star break with 45-plus wins for the third consecutive season. 2. Houston Rockets, 42-13, last week. 1. The Rockets, winners of 8 in a row, stood pat at the trade deadline, but still made moves to better position themselves to make a run at a championship, adding veterans Brandon Wright and Joe Johnson to bolster their depth. 3. Toronto Raptors, 39-16, last week. 4. The Raptors, riding a 5-game winning streak, boast an NBA best 23-4 record at home. 4. Boston Celtics, 40-18, last week. 3. Since January 1st, the Celtics have the NBA's best defense, 99.6 points allowed per 100 possessions, but the 28th ranked offense, 101.1 points scored per. 5. Cleveland Cavaliers, 33-22, last week. 9. The sample size is as small as can be, but this much was clear as Cleveland was running away from Boston on Sunday. The Cavs were having fun playing basketball again. 6. San Antonio Spurs, 35-22, last week. 6. The Spurs have lost 3 of their last 4 and finish up their pre-All-Star break schedule with games on back-to-back nights. On the road, against Denver and red-hot Utah. With the likes of LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Gay, Kawhi Leonard, DeJounte Murray and Tony Parker on the injury report. 7. Minnesota Timberwolves, 35-24, last week. 5 defensive lapses late in close games continue to haunt the Timberwolves, who rank 28th in the NBA, 121 points allowed per 100 possessions, on that end of the floor during clutch situations, when the score is within 5 points in the final 5 minutes of regulation or overtime. 8. Milwaukee Bucks, 31-24, last week. 8. The Bucks, who have won 8 of their last 10 and are now just 1/2 game behind Washington for 4th place in the East, have the best defense in the NBA, 97.7 points allowed per 100 possessions, since Joe Prunty took over the head coaching duties. 9. Indiana Pacers, 32-25, last week. 12. So, about that 32-50 record we projected for this team at the beginning of the season. 10. Oklahoma City Thunder, 32-25, last week. 11. Tuesday's win over Golden State was yet another glimpse at the ceiling of the Thunder, who have beaten the Warriors by an average of 18.5 points in 2 meetings this season. 11. Washington Wizards, 32-24, last week. 7. The Wizards, who won 5 in a row after John Wall went down but have since lost 2 of 3, are in search of point guard depth. Could Derrick Rose fill the void after being traded by Cleveland and subsequently waived by Utah? How about veteran Ramon Sessions, who spent 1½ seasons with Washington in 2015 and 16? 12. Portland Trail Blazers, 31-26, last week. 13. The Blazers have lost 4 of their last 6 games, a span during which they have the NBA's 22nd ranked defense, allowing 110.5 points per 100 possessions. 13. Denver Nuggets, 30-26, last week. 10. The Nuggets, who picked up their first road win of 2018 on Saturday, have struggled mightily outside the comfy confines of Pepsi Center. Their home record, 22-7, ranks 5th in the NBA while their away record, 8-19, ranks 23rd. 14. Philadelphia 76ers, 28-25, last week, 17. While the Sixers ride a 3-game winning streak, uncertainty remains regarding the status of number 1 overall pick Markelle Fultz, who President of Basketball Operations Brian Colangelo said on Friday could be out for the remainder of the season. 15. Miami Heat, 30-26, last week, 14. The Heat, who had lost 5 in a row before Friday's win over Milwaukee, have back-to-back games against Toronto and Philadelphia on tap and could find themselves out of the top 8 in the East heading into the All-Star break. 16. Utah Jazz, 28-28, last week, 18. The Jazz are riding an NBA best 9-game winning streak and lead the league with a net rating of plus 16.4 during that span. 17. Los Angeles Clippers, 28-26, last week, 15. DeAndre Jordan, who was the focus of many trade talks leading up to the deadline, says he just wants to be somewhere where he's wanted. Asked over the weekend if he feels as though he's wanted by the Clippers. "I don't know," Jordan said. 18. New Orleans Pelicans, 29-26, last week, 16. The Pelicans were in 6th place in the West, at 27-21, before DeMarcus Cousins' season-ending injury. They're now in 8th, just 1/2 game ahead of the Clippers. 19. Detroit Pistons, 27-28, last week, 19. In 6 games since Blake Griffin's debut, Andre Drummond is averaging 18 points, 18.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 2.7 blocks and 2.2 steals, and the Pistons are 4-2. 20. Los Angeles Lakers, 23-32, last week, 21. The countdown to July 1st continues for the Lakers, whose trade deadline moves freed up cap space to pursue 2-star free agents. 21. Charlotte Hornets, 23-33, last week, 20. The Hornets have lost 3 or more consecutive games 5 times this season, including this current 4-game skid. 22. New York Knicks, 23-34, last week, 22. The bright side of this disastrous week for the Knicks, who saw their franchise cornerstone suffer a torn ACL and their losing streak extend to 6 games. The acquisition of Emmanuel Mudiay, the 7th overall pick in the 2015 draft, who's anxious for a fresh start after a tumultuous tenure in Denver. 23. Orlando Magic, 18-37, last week, 26. By trading away Elfrid Payton at the deadline, the Magic revealed 2 things. 1. The 23-year-old former lottery pick wasn't a part of the team's future plans, and 2. The front office is going to be patient with this rebuild. 24. Chicago Bulls, 1936, last week, 25. The Bulls, losers of 8 of their last 9, could have their starting point guard back in the lineup this week. Chris Dunn, who has been sidelined since his nasty fall on January 17 against Golden State, is out of concussion protocol and eager to continue his stellar sophomore campaign. 25. Brooklyn Nets, 1938, last week, 23. Forget the fact that they've lost 9 of their last 10 games. The Nets' future is the brightest it's been in some time, with a young core of D'Angelo Russell, Jarrett Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, as well as future draft picks. 26. Memphis Grizzlies, 1837, last week, 24. One of the biggest surprises of the deadline was the Grizzlies' decision to not deal Tyreke Evans, who had been benched in late January as the team fielded offers. No team offered enough in return, so the Grizzlies opted to hold on to this season's best player, for now. 27. Dallas Mavericks, 1839, last week, 28. Of the Mavs' 14 losses since January 1, 11th have been by less than 10 points. 28. Atlanta Hawks, 1839, last week, 30. Though the Hawks were surprisingly quiet at the deadline, opting to hold on to their veterans for the time being, they bought out Marco Belinelli to open up more playing time for the likes of Tyler Dorsey and DeAndre Bembry. 29. Phoenix Suns, 1839. Last week, 29. The Suns added another young asset at the trade deadline in Elfrid Payton, who Phoenix acquired in a low-risk deal and who now has 25 games to show the team whether or not he's going to be a part of their core. 30. Sacramento Kings, 1738. Last week, 27. As if De'Aaron Fox didn't already have the keys to the franchise, the trade of George Hill will give him all the playing time he can handle during the final stretch of his rookie campaign. This week's voters: USA Today Sports' Sam Amick, Jeff Zilgent, Michael Singer and Ajnu Harthkus. The Record's Steve Popper, the Indianapolis Stars' Clifton Brown, Hoops Hype's Raul Barragan and Jorge Sierra.